I just tried to record this outside. The light was amazing, but the wind was not playing along. Anyway, welcome back to the Low Carbon Lifestyle. In this episode, I have an extended conversation with my great mate, Sian Green. Sian and I talked through our parallel journeys into trying to communicate about climate change and climate action. We talk about the inspiration of a certain David Attenborough and some quick-fire sustainability tips. I had a lot of fun making this and having this chat with Sian. I hope you enjoy it. Please do have a look at Green Pretenders and get in touch with Sian wherever you can find her, on Twitter, on Instagram, all that kind of stuff. And please do stick around to the end of this episode where I have a little question that I hope you could help with. Anyway, here's my chat with Sian. I hope you enjoy it. My name is Tom, and this is a little series about a low carbon lifestyle. Is it recording your end? Can you see that?
Yes. Red blinking light. Red blinking light.
Okay, so welcome to my second low carbon lifestyle interview series. This is Sian Green, my dearest friend, actor, comedian, internet star, friend from university, I guess.
First woman on the moon, inventor of penicillin.
Marrying my best mate Dave, which is, I mean, in many ways is relevant. In some ways is relevant. But you know what, Sian, we were friends before you met Dave, weren't we? So I don't think our relationship is through Dave. And in many ways you stole Dave, and there's some kind of competition between us for his affection.
Totally. If anything, it's the other way around. My relationship with Dave is through you, Tom. So
thank you.
I'll be eternally grateful. Yeah.
Finally admitting that. But so the other thing that you've done listening to your CV achievements. But one of the other things that I guess is relevant here is that you're one of the podcast hosts for a podcast called Green Pretenders that we'll get onto a little bit later on. But I wanted to kind of talk to you because we've gone on this kind of parallel journey of me doing this YouTube channel and you thinking about climate activism through Green Pretenders. Started similar times. I feel like we did similar episodes at similar times as well. It was really fun. But yeah, so tell me and tell people who are going to watch this a little bit about what your journey has been into climate activism, climate change, climate thinking.
I think it was always on a very outer radar for me, and it's just kind of jumped in layers as the years have gone on. So I would say I felt like it was always something I cared about, but maybe on a bit of a superficial or just like an emotional level, or maybe just the things that resonated with me, like, you know, the ice caps melting and the penguins, oh no, sort of, sure. But seeing as this abstract thing that bothered me emotionally. But then, yeah, I think it was going to university that stepped me up a notch, and then going to drama school, I think really consolidated it because of the people I was around. So as you say, I co-host a podcast called The Green Pretenders with my friend Simon, and he is really pivotal to me in my awakening and the level of care that I've had about sustainable living, because he's spot on. He just thinks so deeply and he's so conscientious and so knowledgeable, and seeing him, the habits that he had when I was at drama school, really kind of got it wearing on my mind a lot more. So yeah, we then started the Green Pretenders together. And as you say, Tom, our podcast and your YouTube show were sort of at the same time. But I always think that they complement each other quite well.
Definitely.
I often tell people, because I think Simon and I talk about things in a sort of wishy-washy way. And I don't think often we have the facts and figures to back it up, because we're just not like that in our minds anyway. We're not like engineers or scientists or mathematicians by nature. So we'll talk about things, I think, quite the theory, or just the kind of how we're relating to things as people. And then I'll be like, but if you need to understand this much, much better, please go and watch my friend Tom on his YouTube channel, because he'll actually dissect what this actually means.
Yeah, that's very kind of you to say. I think some of the times for me, I'm so into the technical thinking that I miss what is the simple decision I need to make here? This choice between living a more sustainable life or
or not. And I'm like, right, heat pumps. Let's everyone get heat pumps, and trying to explain. And I think it's really useful that kind of trying to explain what a heat pump might be and what solar panels might be, or what, et cetera, the technological stuff. But actually, we need to change the way we do everything in life as well. So I need to kind of be better at communicating that. Definitely. I think one of the things that you've pointed out in what you said at the start there was you almost joke about the penguins and the ice caps, but that those kind of news stories have been with us since we were at school, that something is happening, but they've been building to the significant change in habitat at the poles and wherever there's ice because it's all melting, to hang on a minute, there's wildfire everywhere in 2020 alongside the pandemic, and then there's drought and extreme weather and extreme rain and flooding, and I think your journey, my journey, our journey together, that building momentum of news stories of this world on fire and this real frightening things happening I used to think about it as being like a drip that it's this slow, we're understanding more about climate crisis, but it's not a drip anymore. It's like a bucket at a time of water that is being poured upon us, that you can get quite desensitized to. But I'm really pleased as well that it's become a thing of action for you and for me and for loads of people around us, to be fair, that actually that drip and understanding what's going on has meant we've got to do something about this. But yeah, it remains a big bit of fear for me that it's like, oh no, there's another news story. We don't have that feedback loop of saying, right, I'm going to make a change and therefore it's going to enact another change. It's just more stories. So yeah,
definitely. I often think of David Attenborough as like, when I was younger, David Attenborough to me meant, oh, he likes animals, and I didn't really put the pieces together of like his much deeper concern about the natural world and the things that live in it. I just thought he was an animal lover kind of thing. And then now understanding actually that this man has made it his life's mission to like try and protect natural habitats. So now David Attenborough almost get like, when he releases something new, I get a bit like anxiety, because I know that what we're going to see is not going to be like, and it's all getting better now, don't worry everyone. It's like, this is really bad.
And that was so interesting, because I completely agree. He used to be like the guy that goes and strokes gorillas in a rainforest. And that's all I knew about him, really, and with his lovely voice and his grandfatherly figure. But then like, I think a big change happened, and I remember watching Blue Planet whenever that was, maybe 2017, 18, something like that. And that episode where the whole episode wasn't about the environment, it was just about plastic. And then all of a sudden everyone was like, oh my goodness, plastic's a big problem. And the senior manager at my old workplace got the 250 people in our office together and said, we need to reduce plastic. And it was the first thing I'd heard him say about the environment. And it's because of that one episode. And it was like that, whatever life of activism that Attenborough's had, at some point different things cut through, and that I feel like that Blue Planet episode about plastic really cut through, and everyone stopped using single-use plastics for a period of time, and we probably need to get back on that again. But then he keeps at it. Like, everything he comes out with is just like, hey, listen everyone, this is so important. And I think it was a couple of weeks ago that he spoke to the UN Security Council, and like, if you listen to what he actually said there, it's like, hey, the world's ending. And oh, thank you so much, Sir David. And it's like, no, come on, like, let's take this more seriously. Let's do something about it.
Similarly, the way that certain organisations or platforms usher Greta Thunberg on and off stage, as if now it's just become like a kind of thing to do. Just get Greta up, and then they listen and nod, and she's there almost in tears, and then they're all like, okay, lovely, off she goes again. And it's like just going through the motions of something interesting rather than it meaning anything to anyone.
Sure. And Greta's like something to behold. Oh, isn't she nice? Isn't she cute because she's a teenager? Isn't that nice? But it's like, no, listen to what she's saying. Like, you have betrayed us. You are lying to us. All this kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, amazing. So how are you coming out of this latest, I'm not going to say last, but latest lockdown, how are you feeling about kind of climate action? And so what I know you've been involved with some Extinction Rebellion stuff in the past, but what do you see 2021 looking like in terms of climate action? And I'm thinking a lot about the Conference of the Parties, COP26 in Glasgow, and it's just like, well, actually, we need to be making so much noise to our politicians, to community groups, to everything. What are you thinking about for 2021 for that, in that respect?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I think at the moment it feels more challenging than ever. Really, I don't know if this might resonate with people who might watch this, but for me, the pandemic and lockdowns have come with this sense of like almost apathy, or just feeling so overwhelmed by everything that I can't really commit to anything.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's, I mean, the podcast that Simon and I run together, you know, that our motivation for that has somehow dipped because everything just feels a bit futile and helpless. So actually, even in the last week, I've been trying to turn that mindset around, and, you know, this roadmap, however real it turns out to be, let's just embrace the fantasy for now. Taking that hope and trying to go, okay, wait, let's get back to it now. So yeah, I think in my personal life for 2021 and beyond, I want to start linking activism with the things that are unique to me, like theatre, creativity, because I think actually, you know, you can jump into a pot and feel like, okay, I need to sign up to Extinction Rebellion and be there all the time. I need to be, you know, going on these marches. I need to do this. I need to do that. And then you end up maybe not being as effective in any of those realms. Whereas if you like hone in on what's your own contribution to the world already and try and mesh that with activism so it becomes a good Venn diagram, then maybe that's more effective in the long term for you as an individual. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
There's that cliche, master of all trades, or master of all trades, jack of all trades, master of none, that kind of thing. And it's like, you're someone that's got such a good voice in communicating certain things, in communicating and your with your acting skills and with your the way you can communicate. And it's like, how do we use those skills to see change, rather than saying I need to do X, Y, and Z, like or I need to do everything, and spreading too thin and trying to do everything. Particularly, like, I feel like I've talked to my friend Min a little bit about this, is in terms of like the grace we need to have for ourselves a little bit this year, when we forget the simplest of things and we forget to do things, just because it's like this constant state of panic that we're in during the pandemic stuff means that we can really let ourselves down, or we could feel like we've let people down just by not doing simple things.
No, definitely. The idea of being kind to ourselves and allowing ourselves to get back into the swing of things, and not think that we've kind of like ruined everything by maybe being less productive in the last 6 months than whatever. Like, there's still time. There's not much time, but there's still time.
Definitely. So tell us a little bit about Green Pretenders. Like, you've covered everything from kind of food and packaging and everything. So what have you been learning, and what's the why behind Green Pretenders?
So I guess the cereal box blurb for us is that we wanted to make sustainability like super accessible, friendly, almost silly. You know, we identified that when we were engaging with writing or podcasts or films or documentaries, we often found that a lot of the material is quite highbrow, almost, you know, verging on kind of pretentious and preachy sometimes, and just very much like, if you're not doing this, then you are part of the problem and you're ruining the world. And that can be really intimidating and alienating. So we wanted to put something out there, obviously not that these things don't already exist, we're not like mavericks, but we just wanted to do our bit to put something out there that was like sustainability, but with a tone that says, we don't get it right a lot of the time, we're just trying to, so let's all just try together. So Green Pretenders is like, we take a different topic each week. As you say, we've covered like food packaging, travel. You know, I'm quite proud of, we've talked about menstrual products, and just trying to like hone in on things that apply to, you know, a lot of people, and then talk through the things that we've tried out and the things that we would like to be better at, and just habits, I guess, is the main thing. So and every week we share an eco whoop and an eco poop, which
I like that. I was telling Esther about the podcast earlier and how it's eco poop and eco roop, etc. And she was like, "Yeah, great, yeah, cool. That's a good feature."
Yeah. It just makes so much sense. We realise that we forget to explain it every week. So if we ever were to have a new listener just jump in, they'd be like, "What on earth are you talking about?"
It makes sense without explanation, for sure.
It's hopefully, great. Eco poop. Yeah. So
have you got an eco roop for today, or an eco? I'm putting you on the spot there. I've not asked you for that.
See, our eco roots can vary because sometimes we try to make them like this will be relatable to everyone, like this piece of good news. Today I don't have one of those off the top of my head, but I've got one that's more like individual. But I just did before talking to you, Tom, I was doing a workshop with this lady who runs the Climate Change Festival in London, and she is running a series of workshops for performers, and we're looking at pieces of text that relate to the climate. For example, to Tanya's speech from Midsummer Night's Dream actually has undertones of like the environment and damaging the environment. So we're taking texts like that from theatre and performance and learning how to use them to like spread the message.
Amazing.
And that was an eco route because it was just quite positive and fun. Yeah,
that sounds so exciting. So I don't. Midsummer Night's Dream. I'm gonna ask. Is that Marvolio? Is he in that?
He's not. No, he wears
Night.
Yellow stockings in Twelfth Night. Yes,
that's
indeed.
Right. So I don't know Midsummer Night's Dream. I've never studied or read that. So I have very text there.
Because it's often known as the most pop culture Shakespeare. It's the one with the lovers running through the woods and the fairies. That's true. You're way too edgy for that. No, you knew Shakespeare before he was famous. That's the thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I can imagine, because you can. My experience of Shakespeare is you can have a script of Shakespeare and then play it in so many different ways. I saw you in Romeo and Juliet as a comedy, which was hilarious, and so I guess you can play that speech. Was it Tanya's speech?
Tanya.
You could play that in a way that is like highlighting the climate impacts of this, and that could be so interesting to use these creative things that people know. It's in our back of our heads and this familiar to say, you know what? No, this was written about climate change for 2021. It's like maybe, but it could be really interesting to kind of recreate those stuff. That's really cool.
I think you can kind of draw in a new audience, or not a new audience, but if you create content that is about climate change and sustainability, that's great. But people who click on that or want to engage with it are choosing to because they want to engage with it.
Yes.
If you can take another genre or another platform like theatre, music, film, and then like eat the message in, then you widen your audience, I guess, because you've got people that were coming to that because they like theatre or because they like music, and then it hits them in a different way. They might not have gone out of their way to find out about sustainability potentially. So yeah,
that's interesting, definitely. So what's coming up for Green Pretenders? Have you got any more episodes in the plan, in the diary?
Yeah, we rounded off last year as if we'd sort of completed a series. We'd taken a lot of topics and we thought we'd ticked off a lot of stuff that we could comfortably talk about without really starting to talk out of our buttholes. So going forwards, am I allowed to say buttholes?
We'll bleep it out. We'll bleep it out.
Going forwards, we want to start like almost a second series, and we want to start interviewing people because obviously there's only so much that we can offer or say, and now we want to crack into the brains of people that know much better than we do and know much more than we do. So we want to interview people again from all walks of life, but people who have expertise in an area of climate change and sustainability.
Very exciting. I look forward to hearing some of those. That'd be good.
Yeah.
A question that I'm going to ask you is I don't know if you've actually watched any of the YouTube videos I've done.
I have.
You've watched a couple. You watched some of them. What haven't I done, and what have I missed out? Is there anything that I should be thinking about or should be looking at that would be helpful to you or helpful to people that you think are engaged with stuff? Again, I'm putting you right on the spot there. Think, Sean, think quickly.
Well, no, but it's interesting because it's like you offer what it makes sense for you to offer.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know, like, would it be, if there's something that I could say, well, why haven't you talked about moon cuts, Tom? Why?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I'm gonna make up an answer to that. It's because I don't really talk about waste a lot. I don't really talk about the use of resources and stuff. So it's something I need to think about more. Is plastic use and stuff. It's not because I'm scared. But maybe I could. Maybe I could interview you. Hang on a minute. About moon cups.
Yes.
But yeah,
but genuinely, I would say that I don't see something missing from the videos that you've done, because they're still going, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if that's a really unhelpful answer.
No, that's fine.
That's fine.
That's just fine.
Okay, bye.
No, I didn't.
That's fine. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of funny though, isn't it?
Sorry. What I like about yours is I really like when you're out and about and in different places as well. Like, and when you're doing things as you're talking about them, I like that a lot about it, because it proves, one, that you are actively doing this stuff. You're not just like blathering on about it. And two, it's just nice to watch, especially pandemic wise. It's nice to watch someone in an outdoor space that isn't
see the world. Yeah. Yeah, sure. And so I've got a video in the edit at the moment about some trees that me and some friends planted. I recorded an introduction to that as we went to plant the trees, and I didn't record anything else. What a fool. So anyway, I'm going to have a think about how I can make that into a video. And then, yeah, I've got a little video in the plan about electric vehicles, etc., where Esther and I hired a electric vehicle, had a jolly. But yeah, sure.
Can I hear any spoilers? Can I have a spoiler? What was your experience with the electric vehicle?
It's just extraordinary. It's like, it's so much better than driving a normal car. It's quiet. It's like a go-kart. There's no gears. It goes really quickly. And then it's actually surprisingly easy to charge, and cheaper than fuel in my normal car. And so all of the above, I'm just like, yeah, what? That's so great. And there's a hire company near us that it's called EV Rent. They're actually linked to Diggerland. So there's like 3 Diggerland locations across the country. One of them being in Durham. Did you come to us with us that time after like spring formal or something at uni? You didn't.
I didn't. I remember it. I remember speaking of Diggerland, but for some reason I wasn't available for that particular field trip.
Yeah. But yeah, people like me, Mike, Peyton, Rachel, Nikki went to Diggerland and had a lot of fun, and it was horrible. Amy Fry, people like this, but spinning you around in a digger bucket. But yeah. But anyway, the people that own Diggerland also own this electric vehicle hire company. So it's just like, this is great. So I went down, and that's part of the story I want to tell in this video coming up, is that actually how easy it is to hire an electric vehicle that you can then drive forever, and that's absolutely fine, and charge whenever you need to, and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, there's a spoiler. I think they're great. I don't need one. I don't need one now, because we've got our own car and we don't need to buy a new car. We barely drive. But actually, if in the next few years, if we were going to replace it with one, then I'd get a second-hand electric vehicle, no doubt in my mind.
Really?
Yeah, it's just so much better. It's just great. I don't know how you finish this kind of conversation, because this has been great. This has been really good. What should we say?
Should we do a quick fire sustainability question round? Like, what's your favorite meat substitute at the moment, Tom?
I'm so into Linda McCartney. Linda McCartney's selection of everything is just incredible. Burgers.
Were you aware that she is not alive?
Yes.
Okay, I was not until very recently. I felt a bit disturbed, because all this time I've been imagining when I'm eating the Linda McCartney sausages, I was like, oh, thanks, Linda, off in your little kitchen or whatever.
But her daughter is Stella McCartney, who's the designer.
Yeah.
And talks a lot about her mother's activism, and her her widowed husband is a bloke called Paul McCartney, who was in a band in the 60s called the Beatles. He's still alive. But no, yeah, I've been amazed, particularly the last few months, where we just said, oh, let's try a Linda McCartney burger, how great that is. And then we tried like a pie, and I've got a few other things. I've got a lattice in the freezer. But yeah, that was really good. Okay, so let's do some more quick fire. That wasn't very quick fire, but your latest milk substitute or meat substitute?
Okay, well, very much on the soya at the moment. Mm-hmm. For teas and coffees, actually.
Oh wow!
I did try hazelnut recently. I enjoyed it. Didn't switch me from soya. What else have I tried recently? Yeah, we get oat every now and then.
Yeah, I have oat on my cereal.
Yes, definitely, and
nice.
it is kind of trial and error to see which of the non-dairy alternatives suit which purpose better. I think, isn't it? Like there is almond milk is great in a coffee, but I know almond milk is not. If we are to go for a non-dairy alternative, then maybe not almond milk if possible. But yeah,
it's a funny one, that, isn't it?
Because with sugar.
Sure. Yeah. It's always got to be the sweetened one, isn't it? Is the thing.
Yeah. If I accidentally get the unsweetened, I'm like, no. Sorry.
The almond milk one is a funny kind of conversation, though, isn't it? Because it's almond, however you say it, is so much better than dairy, but it's still like it uses so much water to create almond milk, and you're kind of like, no, well, it's so much better than dairy, so let's still use that if we like.
Totally. Yeah, I guess I just mean if you've already decided to eschew dairy and then you're looking at a new set of options.
Good.
Then out of that set of your now existing options. But yes, absolutely. If they only like almond and it's like a choice between dairy and almond, then go for that. And is it almond? Almond?
I've got no idea. Actually, I don't think anyone knows, actually. I think that's something that no one knows.
I think so too. No one has ever or will ever know. Almond. Split the difference. Almond.
Right. Next quick question. Who's your energy supplier?
Thingy, Bulb.
Brilliant.
Who's yours?
Octopus.
Brilliant. Who's your toilet? Where do you get your toilet paper from?
Who gives a crap?
Yeah. Do you like fast fashion, Tom Bray?
Do I like fast fashion?
Yeah.
No, I do. I mean, no, I don't know. I like second-hand fashion and fashion you can repair and really expensive Patagonia type fashion, that kind of thing.
You like jeans that you can put in the freezer, don't you?
Yeah, that's very true. It's very true. Why has it been like 9 years of my friends taking a mick at me about getting a nice pair of jeans?
I think it's more the putting them in the freezer thing. I'd just never heard of that. I hadn't heard of it before or since.
I'm going to talk the viewer's view. I mean, no one's still watching. Let's be honest. No one's got to this point in this conversation. But the jeans in the freezer thing is a jeans company called Hyatt Denim. They're saying we shouldn't wash denim because it ruins the denim, but jeans might start to smell. So if you put it in the freezer, it kills the bacteria that makes the smell, and therefore don't have smelly jeans, but you don't need to wash them. I'm like, great! Save all the water and chemicals that go to washing. So there you go, Sian Green. Put your jeans in the freezer. Do it.
I will. I've got it right
here. What's your favourite tree?
I don't know. I think I just had an out-of-body experience. Actually, I had the other day a real desire to be in a pine forest, and you know when the ground underfoot is kind of squishy, and I feel like pine trees are such a multi-sensory tree experience.
So
it like
smelly.
affects the very air around you and like the density of the air, and just it's such a nostalgic thing. So I think in this moment right now, I would say pine trees.
We went to the Galloway Forest in southwest Scotland in October last year, and the incredible forest, but it's full of pine trees and deer, actually, full of deer that my dog likes to chase a lot. My dog doesn't bark.
Fenton!
Yeah, it was a bit like that. But Ashen, she never barks until she sees a deer, and she loses it. Like, and it's amazing. But yeah,
Do you think is it because she wants to play with them, or because she wants to eat them?
they're so close, those two things. But I really fear that she chased a stag, and the stag ran away from her. And I'm just like, at some point, the stag's going to turn around and it's going to kick off at you, and you'll learn a lesson there. But that's one of the only times that we have no control over our dog, is when there's deers nearby. And Fenton, yeah, gosh, remember that. That's it. That's all our quick fire questions done, unless you have any.
Yeah, okay. No, what's your top tip of the week? Let's end on that. Top tip
of the week. Got nothing.
Well, I could do a show and tell of my latest sustainability purchase.
Yeah,
you like?
Latest sustainability purchase.
This is a loofah washing up sponge.
Ah.
And it's made of loofah, and it's instead of like the single-use throwaway sponges. And this is actually very effective.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. I'm into that.
There you go.
I'm trying to think I feel like there is something recent that I've had that I could give you as a recent sustainability top tip, but it's absolutely gone. What I'm going to say is, weather's getting better. Let's get our bikes out. Let's get them serviced, and let's stop driving.
Yes.
Springtime is cycling time.
Yes, and as the weather gets nicer and we all go back out into parks, because we can do that even in lockdown, let's not leave our rubbish everywhere and ruin the natural environments, because I feel like last time people were in parks over lockdown, it was actually like quite shocking.
Yeah, so, I've got to tell you, that's a London specific thing, to be honest, because we don't have the same kind of park infrastructure where I live, where it's just like all parks are great, but then people leave loads of stuff. Yeah, I agree. I think the waste thing and the throwaway thing is something I really need to get on top of. There's a new shop in Durham. You remember Durham? You remember Durham?
I remember Durham, yeah.
Shop in Durham called Scoop, which is like a weigh and save kind of place. That is no packaging, and I'm kind of like, yes, that is so the future. We probably need all of that, and like, it's just unbelievable how much waste we cram into our wheelie bin each week, either to go to recycling or to go to waste. I'm just like, no, we just need to get rid of it. We need to stop using all that stuff for so many reasons. But yeah,
definitely. Yeah, recycling can't be the it's not a solution. It's a kind of stopgap.
It's a sticking plaster, isn't it? And it makes you feel like you've done something okay, when no, you haven't. You really haven't. You've just asked someone to take your waste and to process it a bit more, just because you can be bothered buying something without a package. Anyway, we'll get there one day.
We will.
Sian, thank you so much for joining me on my second low carbon lifestyle interview series. As you have experienced, I'm not the greatest of interviewers, but we've had a lot of fun.
Here you are.
I've really enjoyed that. Please send my best regards to David.
I will. My future husband, best friend of yours, David Simpson. I think he's in the loo right now, so I'll send my best regards.
Do you know his middle name? I know his middle name.
David John Simpson.
Very good. Well done.
Imagine if I didn't know his middle name.
I don't know why I said that.
Oh. And imagine if I didn't know his middle name and you just called me out on it on the internet.
David Jason Simpson.
Yeah.
DJ.
David Jehovah Simpson. Jeremiah.
Yeah. David Jason would be fun if you were getting married to David Jason, wouldn't it?
It would be fun. It's a bit old for me now, probs, but.
Yeah. On that note, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. So nice to see you, Tom.
That was my conversation with Sian Green. I hope you found it useful and enjoyable. I certainly enjoyed making it. Do listen to Sian on Green Pretenders. I think it's a great podcast to help give an intro into lots of these issues around the climate. I said at the start that I needed your help. So I wonder if you could help me decide what my next video project should be. So here's two options for you. First, a bit of an explainer around COP26. What is it? What is everything going on in Glasgow at the end of the year, and how I think we could be involved. Or a deep dive into the emissions linked to cars and the impacts that our travel might have. If you prefer COP26, then comment COP26 below. And if you prefer cars, then comment drive below. Thanks, and please do like and comment on this video and subscribe to this channel. Let's keep fossil fuels where they belong, in the ground or in a museum.